Hey guys, so of course the Battlers came out recently, and I wanted to still tinker around in terms of making Cyber Dragon playable as a going first variant. So of course, just to lay it out straight, if you're looking to play a better, good Runick variant or good Sprite variant, this obviously is not it. But in terms of just Cyber Dragons, I think with Runick, it's not necessarily new. You've seen had provided a way long ago, but with Runick Spright, I don't think I've seen it myself. So I think I'll just get to the list and just kind of go over how it might potentially work. Starting with the 3 core, so the significance of it is, of course, it's the level 2. So essentially, you can easily get to like Sprite combos with any of your Runick spells. So essentially, you can either, if you don't have the capacity to be able to make the Nova Infinity line, which is probably going to happen a lot, but that's okay. You can always search an overflow with this instead, and that can get you like a non-targeting banish, which essentially is something that Runick kind of lacks because all of the cards target. It's gonna be kind of weird, but just the 2 hers and the 1 original Cyber Dragon. So usually you would obviously max out on these for like a pure variant, but for this one I felt it was okay. Like you might just draw into them anyways through like Runick spell anyways, and on top of that, this is also kind of nice when you pitch off like Hugin to add the field spell. This can also add a Cyber Dragon, and if you let's say happen to draw like 1 overflow, then you at least have like essentially 2 non-targeting pops off that. Of course, the 2 soldier, that one is kind of normal. This is probably the biggest brick in the deck because on its own it never does anything. I'm also playing Nibiru just as like an additional light, but it is something that, especially if you can at least get one of it out, if you have access to like duality, that can also give you access to like core play. Again, just 2 emergency, which is kind of like the 2 hers, really weird, but because you're fitting a lot of engines in this deck, I try to cut down the deck count as much as I can, and that's why I decided to cut it out like that. And the 1 repair plan for the soldier for the most part. Going second, I decided the Jizukuru, so you can also put that in search off the repair plan going second, which is kind of nice. We're playing the 3 duality. This is arguably most impactful in Cyber Dragons than any other deck, just because there's so many targets, at least for the pure variant. For this one, primarily, of course, it provides Kinetic Rampage, but if you watch Joshua Schmidt's list, it can also, like, for example, help dodge Imperm on the Hugin, gets you to the All-Vein, and things like that. It also provides some recursion because you can put back Dark and Light, especially the extra deck monsters, which gets really tight, and it at least puts them back into the deck, and you can also draw 1, which is really nice to have. So that's it for kind of like the Cyber Dragon part of the deck, and then the Sprite, the one, 3 blue. Shout out to Takumi, the one filming, for lending me these. So I decided to just go 1 jet, 1 red, 1 carrot, and then the 1 starter and 1 smasher. So basically, and of course this is now at 3, at least when the ban list comes into effect. This is essentially the ratio you would see in like a live twin Runick kind of variant as well, where you only play 1 of these. As much as I want to play more Sprite cards, and you can, but I think if you do that, you have to play more Sprite stuff like rank 2, whatever in the extra deck, which I had a hard time fitting. And I think one of the weaknesses of this deck is that you kind of run out of gas fast with the Sprite part of the deck. You really need the Runick stuff in circulation as soon as possible. But nonetheless, you can always test it out with more Sprite stuff if you really want to. Runick stuff, this is like honestly nothing new. It's just like the same 17 Runick cards that you're probably seeing for the most part. So I'm just gonna lay them out here, but yeah, nothing really changes. Essentially help you get into your draws, whatever pop, negate, it has everything, but you really do need this in circulation. So you're essentially summoning something out, and then again being able to do Sprite combos with either core or the actual Sprite stuff. And just the 3 nibs, just decided to play some kind of meaningful hand trap, and again, it's a light monster that you can pitch off soldier, which does come up sometimes as well. Moving on to the extra deck, we have a bit of a, let's start with the Cyber Dragon stuff. Homage, I do want to cut this, but sometimes you do actually have the kind of like your typical Cyber Dragon combo with like Nova Infinity Line along with core. You have to find a way to get the core into the graveyard for the repair plan to be live, and you have the Homage for that. Just the 1 Nova, 1 Infinity that you can set up either turn 1 or maybe eventually in the grind. Having a recurring Omni Negate, as long as you have enough materials, is always really nice to have as well. The 1 Fortress, 1 Mega Fleet, and the 1 Rampage, just basically you can only bring it out through duality in this version of the deck. It can also come out if Nova gets Nibiru'd. This one, going second, you can easily out something like SP or Appaloosa. Fortress, so as I mentioned, I'm playing Jizukuru in the side, which you can contact fuse it away for this, but even in the main, honestly, like sometimes let's say your opponent is on Rescue Ace, they have machines. If they have like a Zeus on the field, that's also a machine you can contact fuse away. And also, let's say if Sky Striker Orcus becomes at least a popular rogue strategy at the beginning of the next format, they're all machines, so you can eat it all up. The Runick stuff now, the double Hugin, the 1 Jerry, again, nothing too new. And if you watched Joshua Schmidt's YCS winning list, he of course played this. that serves as a duality target, primarily to essentially dodge an imperm on this, which is kind of nice. It is a tuner, so obviously we're not playing any level 8s like the bestial version where you can make a synchro 10. So I thought about playing my boy Gerald here, but because it's with the other twos, you can make it. But to be honest with you, I find it doesn't come up as much, and I feel like I'd rather have it just be like a Gym Buster instead. But you can try to find other rank 2, link 2, whatever that you want to play as part of like the Sprite package as well. And of course, talking about Sprite, we of course have Gigantic, really strong for your enabling your Sprite plays, and some generic cards, SP Little Knight, Typhon, and the Zeus. This one hasn't really come up too much yet, but obviously it's a very good card. Zeus, of course, it's a Runick deck, so you don't have that much of a battle phase, but especially when you're playing like Nova Infinity, like you do have a lot of ways to probably get this live sometimes, especially to going second clear boards, and SP are really good. And finally to the side, this one is definitely in the works of, you have to play Red Resonator if you're playing like a Runick Spright deck. Unfortunately, it's going to go too long and you have to find a way to win in time. One Jizukuru because it is searchable off of Repair Plan. I'm just playing one Lava Golem. You can play multiple. I'm just kind of trying out in terms of different kind of board wipes because I'm also essentially playing double evenly as well. I like to play 3, but nonetheless, that's at least what I'm playing with. Again, it's very, very rudimentary. 3 Ash for Labyrinth and Branded, which I think will be quite popular, especially at the start of the next format as well, because they have not been hit on the ban list. 3 Drolls. This actually, speaking of Droll, this version of this deck actually plays into Droll quite hard. That's one of the biggest downsides, but you know what, you're playing a rogue deck, so what can you really complain too much about? One Feather Duster along with the evenly match, and then some going first options, D-Barrier, and Grave, because Branded, unfortunately, is kind of very hard to win if they have Sanctifier out, because it's untargetable, and Runick target all the time. So just a D-Barrier and this is kind of like FTK against that deck, but potentially other different strategies as well. So that's it for the deck profile. Hopefully you found that interesting. I'll try to find some replays that I can share later if there's any interest in it. Again, definitely huge thanks to all of you for watching. Happy holidays and take care.